Are we ready?
We are ready. I'm incompetent, I'm sorry.
What are we called?
We are called Considered and Conceited.
We'll have to work out who's who. Maybe.
Hello.
Is anybody there? No, it's all good.
All for us.
And you, the listener, if you're there.
It's all about me.
Did you really just count down?
I just counted us down.
Why?
How professional was that? Hi, Stu.
Hi, Stu. I hope you're having heaps of fun.
Oh, he's going to be looking around in the car now. All right, we are here for another podcast, and it is episode
8.
8. Oh, my God.
I know, I'm really enjoying myself.
We haven't had anybody throw rocks at us yet, except for Stu.
But Stu's allowed to.
Yes, he's allowed to.
That's okay. No one else has, so, we're waiting. Feel free to make comments on our Facebook page.
Absolutely, absolutely. We love
Is
the
it under
comments.
Considered and Conceited? Is that where it is?
Yeah, you just go into, just type in Considered and Conceited on the Facebook page.
And if you don't like what you're hearing, let us know.
Yeah, look, if we're offending you.
Or if we haven't offended you yet. I thought we covered everybody, but anyway.
I think we've pretty well covered everybody. Yes, I don't believe there's any marginal. Well, I've offended. I'm sure I've offended feminists. Have I offended feminists?
Yes,
yet?
no, you've done everybody. It's
I
all
think
good.
so. I think so. Yes.
Anyway, good evening, everyone. Hope you've had a good week. And tonight we're looking at an obscure film and one of my favourites.
Your favourites.
One of my favourites.
Why do you talk like that?
I just don't know. It's the way I say it. Sorry, that's how it's going to be. So the first movie...
Oh, it's going to be one of those nights for you tonight, is it?
La 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 la. So the obscure film we watched this week was The Sum of Us.
The Sum of Us.
Yes.
Yes.
So...
Would you like me to kick it off, because I did pick it?
If you want.
Yes, but you've got to do your synopsis first, don't you?
Yeah, I was going to, but you can if you wish.
Oh, just...
So it's an Aussie film, 1994. Harry, a middle-aged father who suffered through the death of his wife, is ready to get back to dating. Harry shares a house with his gay son, Jeff, who is also looking for a serious relationship. Harry and Jeff, who are very close, decide to help each other out to look for potential partners. And Jeff finds a boyfriend who is still in the closet, and Harry begins dating Joyce, who is biased against
still
gays.
in the closet?
That's what it says, and that's how it was.
So you just take the synopsis directly off the what?
Off whatever I'm reading.
Off Rotten Tomatoes or
No,
something?
not just there. It depends where I find the best one that I'm looking for that helps out, and sometimes I change it ever so slightly.
I thought that expression went years ago. Anyway, that's all right.
What's the new expression? Out.
Well, if how's it? Yeah, no, that's offensive too. No, I can't.
I thought that.
I really struggle with this sometimes.
I thought that was the best one.
Yeah, no, that's.
So basically, there's a father and son who are living
Yep.
together, and they've got a very good relationship,
Right?
And they care about one another a lot.
Yep.
And it's in a time where a lot of gay people are probably not telling the rest of their families because it's a horrible, terrible thing.
Yes.
Wonderfully horrible.
Yes. The 1990s were strange like that. I don't know if you remember them that well. How old were you in the early 90s?
I wasn't that old.
I'm not going to ask your exact age, but are you still shitting in a diaper or?
No, I'm an 80s child. I was born in the 80s.
Oh, okay. So you're running around the backyard throwing cricket balls.
Well, yeah, I wasn't allowed to have the bat. My brother always had it.
Oh, he was the one who played with the balls. What?
Gosh.
See, this is what I'm talking about.
Anyway, Paul, what did you think of the film?
Oh, no, I haven't finished where we were going to on that.
No, that's why I've completely...
Oh, so you're trying to direct me away, are you?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm not going to be directed.
I won't go into the night!
I can completely do that speech from end
please
to end.
don't.
I won't
Thank you.
do that. Yeah, I'm not drunk enough.
Thank God.
Yeah, no, I'm still relatively sober. Okay, well, first of all, the 1990s was weird. From my memory of it, certainly in Cobram. And, I was just in the...
What's happening in Cochrane in the 90s?
Oh, well, that was the late 80s for me in the Cobram. But I was in the army in the 1990s. So perhaps I was in a more homophobic environment than most people at that time. So I don't know, maybe I'm not the person to talk to about this, but yeah, no, it was very strong, and it kind of felt a little 1950ish. I think the army is probably about 30 years behind everybody else. There you go, I found a new group of people to insult. There we go. To all the servicemen, hi, how are you?
I was just thinking, what I should have done before doing this podcast was actually look up when Mardi Gras started in Australia.
Oh, I think it was in the 80s, maybe the late 70s.
Okay.
It's been around for yonks.
Okay, I wasn't sure because it's shown in this film, and I just thought, is it a relatively new thing, or is it still?
No, it's been going for quite some time. But I did love, like, when they were doing the picture of it, like the floats were really quite rudimentary, weren't they? Oh, look, he's in the back of a ute there. Oh, that's lovely. And then, oh, what a lovely man he is. You know.
Oh, well, I mean, depending on the budget of the film, you work with what you've got.
What I did like about the film, look, okay. First of all, there was a lot of... It was made in the 1990s for an Australian, now, inverted commas, an Australian 1990s audience. And that's a very, very specific group of people in that we weren't woke at that stage of the game. And I think that this movie was served as much as anything else as kind of like a public awareness campaign. Did it give it that feel? Like...
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of directors were trying to do lots of different things in Australia at that time period.
Sure, and
I mean, Australia always. I was about to say Australia does that anyway.
Yes, but with not very much money.
We never do have any money.
No, but like, when did Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, come out?
That was before that.
What? It was before,
it? Yeah, it was before that. So not much before though.
No, but it was in the same era. Yeah.
So it's obviously when that was a topic of discussion in Australia.
And AIDS was still a very prevalent scare. Oh my God, don't go near the gay guy because he'll give you AIDS, kind of in that attitude sort of thing in the 1990s. You know, there was a lot of ignorance going on around the time. Now, look... An exceptionally sentimental film. I would have to say it's certainly... I remember it as being quite powerful, and I think it made quite an impact on me when I first watched it in the 1990s. And it was one of those kind of films that made me stop and think, not to be like the redneck that I was. Because you got to understand, I grew up in a very conservative household, in a very conservative town, very small town, and, you know, we hadn't had any kind of dealings with people who... We didn't know what a gay person even looked like. Do you know what I mean? Like, no, you may laugh at me, but I'm serious. Like, I didn't meet a gay person until I went down to Melbourne in 1989, I think it was, and I actually moved in with a gay man, and I was not aware of the fact that he was gay. And now that I look back on it, it's hilarious because the man was a raging queer. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm sorry if that's... Yeah, I'm sure that's probably not a
was
good
he a
word
nice
to use.
bloke?
But he described himself as a raging queer at the time.
Was he good to live with?
He was excellent to live with. He was lovely. He had good taste too, I have to say. Very good taste. But, yeah, look, he was just a lovely guy, but he was weak and he had people trot all over him sort of thing, and they treated him appallingly. And I was, look, at the end of living with Jeffrey, that was his name,
So just like the guy in this?
Is his name Jeffrey too?
Yes.
I didn't pick up on that. It's been 30 years or something like that.
Did you watch it this week?
2 days ago? Can I point to the glass of alcohol there? Yes. Anyway, look.
Go on.
I digress. So do you. Look, I found... and like, because I was only very young at that stage of the game, and like, dumbass from the country sort of thing, and I'm going down to Melbourne, and I'm working building cabinets at that stage of the game, and I was living in a tent, and like the guy said, oh, well, Jeffrey's got a room, you should ask him, you know, and then they'd go off into, you know, gales of giggles and everything. And I thought what awfully happy chaps those guys are, you know. So I'd go up and ask him, and I go, excuse me, can I can I was wondering if you've got a spare room to rent. Apparently the guy said that you've got a spare room. And he just turned to me and looked at me and said, oh, of course, darling, absolutely for you, wonderful, And so...
Was he a cabinet maker?
He was working... No, he wasn't. None of us were cabinet makers. We were just banging these things together and putting the screws in and everything like that. We built cabinets. They were vanity units. But they're all like... the stuff that you'd buy. And then
pack.
Flat packs, thank you. Yes. But a little bit more than that, but not by very much.
Okay.
So you didn't require skilled tradesmen, but at least people who knew one end of a screwdriver from the other. So I moved in with him, and I saw the, how can I say, like the underbelly of Melbourne that you just don't get to see. The weird and the wonderful. And... like, I was from the country and it completely and utterly blew my mind. Just all these people that were just like, I met witches and warlocks and all of these kind of people that you'd never come across in a million years. But they live there amongst everybody else under the skies. But there's a whole subculture there that I was completely unaware of. Do you know what I'm saying? That's still there today. That's what I'm saying. There's a whole subculture that's there. And they're not bad people. They're not, they're not assholes or anything like that. They're happy, vibrant people trying to get through life, pay taxes, obviously not have kids because they don't have kids, but some of them do nowadays, sort of thing. Usually because they got involved in a marriage and they were gay, and they eventually ended up and worked out that they still got out of the marriage and they had kids, but they shouldn't have been with a woman in the first place.
Wow.
What?
Nothing.
You've got this look of incredulity on your face.
No, just what started as talking about Australian movie.
This is like, this cuts right to the middle of it.
I'm just, it's an insight.
Yeah. What, of me that you never saw before?
That's right.
I could tell you some stories, but I won't here. But no, I'm not gay. No, I'm just saying, I'm not gay, but I lived with a gay man for over a year, and it was an extraordinary experience, and one I very much value because it educated me, and I think that's where most prejudice comes from, fundamentally from ignorance.
Lack of knowledge.
And I was as dumb and as ignorant and hated, I was prejudiced as much as the next person. And even if I occasionally say something that's not by today's standards, comes across... it was quite woke for the 1990s where I developed my language in the first place. Do you know what I mean? I probably mean better, but I tend to stumble out the language sometimes.
Well, I imagine in the 90s, having a film like this come out in Australia,
yep,
where we're not always as educated as we'd like to be, would have been really interesting.
Hey?
It would have been interesting, as in a lot of people would have just went, what's it about?
Well,
it's about a gay guy. That's it, I'm not watching it.
Well, but this is it. Because it's humanising homosexuals, and you can't hate people if you know that they're nice people. Do you know what I mean? It makes it really difficult. They're doing it with the Sudanese at the moment. In Australia, we've got politicians who are using them mercilessly for their own political ends. And if you go and knock on the door of Sudanese people, I'm sure the vast majority of them would, meet you with a big open smile and just be happy that they got somebody to chat to who's not throwing rocks at them. You know what I mean?
I'm guessing all the political stuff that's happening in Australia this week's really...
It's been a bad week for Australia.
I was about to say, you seem really intent on other stuff today.
Look, it's been a really... let's just... you may or may not know, this was the week, because you may be listening in the future, this podcast. You've got to remember this, though.
No, it's all good.
This was the week where we had 3 people vying to be the one to hold the knife aloft. No. 3 people to hold the knife aloft, just plunge it into our Prime Minister's mouth. Who else?
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant vying.
He's not included because he's the one being assassinated. Poor old Malcolm Caesar. Turnbull. Et tu, Brute, or et tu...
Et tu, Brutus.
Et tu, Dutton. Et tu, ScoMo. So, and then we had, of course, he's not quite a Nazi, but, I don't know, he's not far off, but